Good afternoon. Welcome to the Township of Addington Highlands regular council meeting, Tuesday, April the 7th, 2026. I'll call the meeting to order. Today's meeting is being streamed live via the Township of Addington Highlands YouTube channel. To those present in the gallery today, by attending a public meeting of council, you are consenting to your image, voice, and comments being recorded. Anyone invited to speak will be recorded, and their voice, image, and comments will form part of the live stream. The chair and/or clerk have the discretion and authority at any time to direct the termination or interruption of the live streaming. Such direction will only be given in exceptional circumstances where deemed relevant. Circumstances may include instances where the content of debate is considered misleading, defamatory, or potentially inappropriate to be published. Notice is hereby provided that under the authority of the Municipal Act 2001 and in accordance with Ontario's Municipal Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act, that all information provided for or at a public meeting / consultation or other public process are considered part of the public record. Members of council, staff, delegations, and attendees should be mindful of using names of individuals or entities when discussing matters in public. Attendees are advised that they may be subject to legal action if their actions result in inappropriate and/or unacceptable behavior and/or comments. As per the Township's procedure bylaw as amended, all votes during electronic meetings will be recorded votes. All of council is present in the council chambers with the exception of Councillor Thompson, who is participating via electronically. Thank you. So we have the first item on our agenda is approval of the agenda. Motion moved by Deputy Reeve Hook, seconded by Councillor Levier. And we will call the vote. Councillor Thompson?
Yes.
Deputy Reeve Hook?
Yes.
Councillor Levier?
Yes.
And Councillor Yench?
Yes.
And that motion is carried. Adoption of the regular meeting minutes of March the 7th, 2026. Moved by Councillor Yench, second by Councillor Thompson. Any errors, omissions, corrections? None noted. Call the vote. Councillor Thompson?
Yes.
Deputy Reeve Hook?
Yes.
Councillor Leveillé?
Yes.
And Councillor Yench?
Yes.
That motion is carried. Item 3.2 is the adoption of the budget meeting minutes of March the 24th, 2026. We have a mover, Councillor Yench, seconded by Councillor Levier. Any errors, omissions, comments? None. Call the vote. Councillor Thompson?
Yes.
Deputy Reeve Hook?
Yes.
Councillor Levier?
Yes.
And Councillor Yench?
Yes.
That motion is carried. Business arising from the minutes. 4.1 is the Alto High-Speed Rail Project. And we have a letter to members of council from Tricia Sinclair regarding the Alto project, just describing in here her position, which is not supportive of that project. And actually in here is also her desire that the council not support the project, which we've done that. We have a resolution to that effect, and we made submissions to the Alto project to that same effect. So I guess in this case, it's just receiving it. Yeah. So we have a motion to receive that, moved by Councillor Levier, seconded by Deputy Reeve Hook. Does anyone have any comments on it? Deputy Reeve Hook, go ahead.
I know Ms. Trish, I'm going to say Trish. She lives on Scoota Lake with Mike, and I'd like to thank her for a well-written letter. And her views on the Alto project are very similar to council's. And as you mentioned, Reeve Fritsch, that we did send a pretty strongly worded resolution, and it was adopted almost in its entirety by the County of Lennox and Addington. Not only did we oppose the northern route, we also opposed the southern route and the project in general. So I thought it was well worded. And anyways, thank you, Trish, for the submission.
Yeah, I have one comment. I hope that Trish has submitted this to beyond just the township. So in our response, could staff follow up with her, I guess, is maybe that would be in the resolution that we follow up and ask to just to ensure that she has submitted this, her position to the project, and she should submit it directly rather than through the township, although we appreciate the letter. So any other comments? Could we, hmm?
We do have a mover and a second.
Yes,
So we
yeah.
just need to make sure that
We include that part in the resolution that we contact her? That's okay. No other comments? We'll call the vote. Councillor Thompson?
Yes.
Deputy Reeve Hook?
Yes.
Councillor Levier?
Yes.
Councillor Yench?
yes.
And that motion is carried. Disclosure of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof. None noted. Item 6 into 6.1 is Tyler Whale Biodiffusion Technologies as a presentation to council on that technology. So he's participating virtually. Okay, we'll turn that over to you. Please go ahead, Tyler.
Yes, thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. Much appreciated, Councillors Reeves, Deputy Reeve, for your time today. Brett Reevy and I have been speaking for the past several, I'm going to call it months at this point, about an opportunity to use technology that I have the privilege of developing on your road system as an improvement to your road system, both in terms of cost, performance, and carbon mitigation. So I do have a presentation if I can share the screen. Is that possible?
Yes, you should be able to now. Is it
Okay.
working?
Wonderful. Let me try. Make sure I get the right one here. Can you see that?
Yes, we can see it. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. So look, I don't want to take too much of your time. I will go through this quickly, and I'm very happy to leave this presentation with a copy of it with Brett or with any of you so that you can have this. Our company is an older technology that was developed more than 20 years ago, essentially to glue gravel roads together so that roads perform better. It's a biological glue, and that is exactly what we manufacture here in Cambridge, Ontario. It's 100% plant-based resin. There is no negative impact to any environment, whether it's aquatic or terrestrial. And there are lots of different applications of this material, but the first two markets that we're commercializing in are road applications and mining applications. It's a Canadian biotech. Again, we built our plant in 2022 for commercial applications. Like I said, it's an older technology that was validated fairly extensively in the past, but it just was put on the shelf for various reasons many years ago. In terms of our validation, we're not new at this stage. We have been working with some notables for the past several years. I think most notably is Dufferin Construction. GIP is another company that's very interested in this technology. Rotomill has converted some machines, and again, we've done many trials with both field and laboratory results that are all very positive. So it is validated. Again, these primary paving companies are very interested not only in the base stabilization aspect, but different aspects with respect to asphalt production and longevity as well. We're USDA biocertified as 100% biogenic, and we are working with the various entities both north and south of the border. So MTO in the case of Ontario, and various certification bodies in the United States. We're also certified as a carbon negative product. So again, we can certify that when you're using the material, you are actually storing carbon in the road, which is quite a change. So again, all natural, 100% plant-based. It's an emulsion. Basically, what I like to describe it as is a renewable tar that's been emulsified in water. Very easy to use, non-toxic, non-leaching, and all of the various things that I said earlier. So there's different applications that you can use this resin for, and what Brett and I are talking about primarily is the stabilization of your gravel roads. And I will have some other recommendations for you as well throughout this presentation. But basically, when you blend the resin or this biological glue into your gravel base, you create a harder surface that lasts longer, that resists the rutting and potholing, that deflects energy in a more efficient way, reduces water infiltration into the road, and it just creates, again, a harder surface that makes the whole road last longer. This has been proven time and time again, I'll say since the Romans. When you build a good base, you have a better road. It does not correct for all the mistakes in a road. If you don't have good drainage, for example, or you don't have a good subbase, this isn't the panacea that fixes everything, but it is something that when you add it to properly, I'll say, to the right material, then you do get a meaningfully better life cycle and better cost. So again, top left, base stabilization is primarily what I'm talking about. The second down there, the surface sealant is an application that we're working to validate. So basically a green sealant for any asphalt or surface treatment, such that it, again, prevents water and salt permeation into the road and makes those materials last longer. We are working on a pothole ready-to-use mix, so just using 100% recycled asphalt or RAP. We've been working with several organizations, GIP and Rotomill most notably, on 100% cold in place using RAP. So again, that's 100% recycled asphalt, which is really a disruption in the industry, a game changer, if you will. If you can recycle the road 100% cold and in place, then you just have trains of equipment going up and down highways or roads and basically 100% renewing what issues there are. In the meantime, Dufferin Construction has been working on warm mix additives, so making asphalt cooler and enabling a lot more recycled content to go into asphalt. All of these things to say that your roads are valuable. They're going to be becoming increasingly valuable in terms of the materials that are in them. But at this stage, they are just a real cumbersome level of infrastructure to maintain. I don't think we really need to spend a lot of time on this slide, but ultimately throughout Ontario and really throughout the world, road infrastructure is becoming more difficult and more expensive to maintain. So with less than 44% of roads in Ontario in good condition, and it should be greater than 80%, we have a backlog and what we'll call a deficit every year. Things are getting more difficult and more expensive. And frankly, the materials that we build roads with, particularly the asphalt cement, is becoming lesser quality. And the reason there is that the oil companies are figuring out how to pull more of the beneficial materials out of bitumen that is used for asphalt cement, and they can make more money doing other things with it other than giving the bitumen to the road industry. So it's becoming more difficult to maintain roads with increasing costs of materials and decreasing quality of materials. The war in Iran is not going to do any benefits for any asphalt companies this year, I can guarantee you that. This is what the material looks like, just to give you a sense. So in the jar is the liquid in its concentrate form. So it acts like water, it performs like water, it certainly doesn't smell like water, but it's very biological. And in the bottom here, you see a sand and gravel puck. In the middle is 100% cold RAP or recycled asphalt. In the top is a 50% RAP warm mix. So that to me looks like the future of roads, or the near future of roads, as we continue to work on this 100% recycled content. So basically you're building strength in the bottom, and then you're using greener, cheaper materials for those top layers if you're thinking about pavement. And then that cup with the black stuff in it on the right is really the cured material. As it cures, it's a gooey, very thick molassesy or tar-like substance. And again, that's what binds all the particles together in these road applications. So just look, this slide isn't all that important, but really what it's meant to show and say is that as you build a stronger base, the deflection energy that's going through the road with your cars is going to damage those roads underneath less, and roughly for the same cost as the gravel that you can use to add strength to roads. So you're going to get that longevity for no additional cost. And frankly, there are other benefits, namely that you're not increasing the height of the road. Sometimes you want to increase the height, but most of the time that's a bit of a pain. And second, you're getting this bound material now that's going to last a lot longer underneath the road. So it's not just adding strength, it's actually adding longevity. And the same holds true if you're adding this simply to a gravel road and not putting anything on top, no asphalt or no surface treatment. In terms of the process, which I think is very important, you have to prepare the road properly. And essentially, our company, while we want to be an ingredient company and sell this material to general contractors to put in roads, at this stage, we show up to the job sites. We make sure everybody on site knows what to do, including the general contractor, which is still very important in the road building process. We'll work with Brett and his team to make sure that we have all the calculations and understanding of the materials that you use. But basically, you blend it into the road however you're going to mix it. It can be with a pulverizer, it can be with a grader. You can actually treat gravel off-site at the gravel pit and bring it into roads. That's an excellent opportunity actually to put it under your most expensive roads. So what I call the downtown roads, if you will, things that you want to last as long as possible. And then it's a very similar to any other road building process. Once the resin is in, you grade it, you compact it, and the road is either ready for use at that stage, or you can pave it the next day, sort of just like you do with any other road. Basically, we add about an hour and a half onto a job for a 1 kilometer stretch to get ready, and then the general contractor goes about their business. I do have a few videos that I can show you. If that's of interest, I'll ask that at the end of the presentation if you want to see those videos. And it just shows you how the material goes in either with a pulverizer or with a grader. Again, we've done a number of projects so far, working with some of the primary pavers in the province and in other countries. Starting in 2023 was our first project in Center Wellington, and they have used the material every year thereafter and plan to augment their program in 2026. We know this stuff works. I mean, the engineers that we're working with are really showing a life cycle cost savings of close to 30 to 40% on your road infrastructure, or you can make different decisions now and have immediate savings. So for example, if you were planning to put on a certain thickness of asphalt, you could either reduce that thickness because you're building strength into the base, or if you're using surface treatment, for example, that's another good option. And again, if in the case that we're talking with Brett with, it's to maintain 2 gravel roads that are causing problems, frequent problems, and cost too much to maintain. Again, just really quickly based on the science, we've done the freeze thaw testing. So this is very important, knowing that the materials that you're putting into your road are going to last through the harsh winters and the freeze thaw conditions that we experience, especially this year. And the numbers there on that screen really suggest that the material has passed that test. So any sand and gravel, limestone, or combinations with RAP in it, we have passed the test of freeze thaw, which needs to have less than 7% material loss over 12 cycles. So they submerge your samples into water, then they freeze them, and they scratch them with brushes to see how much material comes off. That's the general gist of the test. And then in terms of strength, this is how we're testing these materials. As we make pucks, we take them into the lab. We do stress tests and compression tests. And again, we know that we are a very cost competitive way of building strength into the base of the road. Like I said, it's about the same strength that you build with double the amount of gravel compared to how much you're putting resin into the base of the road. Somewhere between double and triple, actually, depending on the materials that you're using. So sand and gravel is a bit weaker than crushed limestone. But all of those things are discussed in the details of the project. And I'll really just finish with the economics of this. Now, $7 to $8 might be more than what granular costs in your area. The good news is the cost and the manufacturing cost of our material is going down. So we are going to beat this price. But it is a cost-effective way of saving money over time. And I don't necessarily think we have to go into these details. Look, 3 cheeky questions that I ask. Are you satisfied with the state of repair of your road network? If the answer is no, do you have enough budget to properly maintain it or to get it there? And if the answer is no there, are you trying new things? And I suppose that was the point of my presentation at the recent Good Roads Conference. If we're not trying new things, then what do we expect is going to happen? Is really just much of the same. And again, I fear for the municipalities that just means deficit upon deficit or lower quality roads. So my pitch to you is to hopefully try something different. And now a quick question: does anybody want to see the videos, or should I stop and field some questions from the audience?
Yes, Tyler, Brett had sent links to all of the videos
Okay.
prior to the council meeting to all members of council. So
Wonderful.
yeah, I don't think there's a need to go through those.
Wonderful.
Today?
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
very basic and yeah, just
Yeah.
some visuals.
Yeah, so well, before we turn over to questions, Brett, so we have did you want to provide just a one or two liner about what our plans are, Brett, with this technology?
Yeah, I guess as mentioned at the budget meeting, I was planning on doing a couple of sections of Clark Line Road that are susceptible to the frost and the freeze thaw cycles every year. Try and give it a little more strength and see if we can um, have a better ride in the spring anyways. So as the local counselors here know that travel that road, it's a nasty spot in the spring, and if we can try it there and it works, then we'll be open to try it some other places. So was what my thoughts are. So
Thanks, Brett. So we'll turn it over to members of council. Does anyone have any questions? Deputy Hook, go ahead.
I know we're going to be using this on gravel roads, and we don't really have any true asphalt roads in the township with the exception of the county roads, but we do have a lot of tar and chip roads. This, I think from your presentation, this could be applied on tar and chip roads as well, and it would extend the life by everything being equal. What kind of a life expectancy could we get on that?
Yeah, look, I appreciate the question, and I hate to give you the answer. It depends, but as I'm sure Brett will tell you, every road is different. Every decision that you make impacts the longevity of that road, and certainly Mother Nature plays a role every year in how that impacts the road, as well as the quality of the material that you put down in the first place. What is known is that when you build multiple layers of strength, you are extending the viable lifespan, or the viability, I guess is a good word, for that road. Interestingly, I think to your question, one of the places that we did a commercial application last year was up near Bruce Mines. So that's near Sault Ste. Marie. They had wicked freeze thaws this year. And what they did is they treated their gravel road. They had pulverized the surface treatment into the base with BDT resin added, and they left it as a gravel road over winter. So it gave us the results that we were hoping for, and that is that it was a very good application on gravel roads. It looks rock solid. Come this year, Chad Mullen is the guy's name up there. He said it's a win for BDT, and he's planning to use it at an 8-inch depth under his surface treated roads, or at least he'd like a quote for 8 inches, which is really quite deep. Surface treatment doesn't offer any structural strength. So what you have is basically the granular underneath and the quality of that road. And again, deflection energy is this thing that every time a car drives on that road, it's pushing energy into the base of the road. And when you have an unconfined shoulder, so a shoulder like in the country, that's the wheel track. The outside wheel track usually breaks first because it's pushing against unconfined or uncompressed or lesser compressed granular base. So when you do a treatment with BDT, you basically create that into a form of weak concrete. So you make a very strong base underneath that surface treatment. I can't tell you what it's going to do in terms of how much longer it will last, but I can tell you that it will be meaningful, and will almost certainly give you different options in terms of if you use a double lift or a single lift, for example, or how you then maintain that asset over time. So I know it's a wishy-washy answer, but it's validated by top pavement engineers, and that's basically what I can tell you.
Other members of council have questions? No. I have a question for you, Tyler. What you mentioned in your presentation that it cures. What technically causes it to cure?
Yeah, good catch on the word. What we call curing is really dehydration. So it's getting the water out of the material so that all you have left is the solid component of the resin, that gooey stuff that I showed you. So time and environment really is what makes it cure. Now, when we build a road, we dilute the resin with water because there's an optimal moisture content that you get to get the best compaction that you can get in a granular base. So typically, we're diluting our material about 2 times water to resin. That makes the granular material in the base of best moisture content for best compaction. And so that compact layer will be as strong a road as you've built without resin on day 1. And over the next 2 months, really 28 days is the peak curing, and then it's got a little bit of rise over the next month. It continues to get harder and harder. So it does not mean that you can't use the road as you normally would during those 2 months. It just means that honestly things are getting better. And if you do put a wearing course over the top of it, for example, then it certainly performs as it would on any other road. I hope that answered the question.
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Thank you.
No further questions from council. Okay, so then I think we'll wrap that one up. So thank you very much, Tyler, for taking the time today and providing us with an overview. And I'm certainly our members of council and our staff and the community will be interested, those interested, to see how that works out for us.
Yeah, very, very much appreciate
Great,
the
thanks.
time. And again, Brett, the interest, it's meaningful to communities. And I think this is a great step for anybody who cares about the environment, and B, wants to reduce the overall cost of their infrastructure. Thank you.
You're welcome. So we have a motion to receive the presentation, moved by Councillor Yanch, seconded by Councillor Levier. We'll call the vote. Councillor Thompson?
Yeah.
Yes. Deputy Reeve Hook?
Yes.
Councillor Levier?
Yes.
And Councillor Yanch?
Yes.
And that motion is carried. The next item, 6.2, was a delegation on a presentation of barn quilt in memory of the late Reeve Hogg. Pat Dubik, she is not able to attend today and sends her regrets, so we would defer that presentation. So we need a motion to defer that presentation to a future meeting. Moved by Councillor Levier, seconded by Deputy Reeve Hook. We'll call the vote. Councillor Thompson?
Yes.
Deputy Reeve Hook?
Yes.
Councillor Levier? And Councillor Yanch?
Yes.
And that motion's carried. Item 6.3 on our agenda is the Frontenac ATV Club and Jim Knapp, who's here with a couple other members. So we'll turn it over to you, Jim. Just press the red button and you can proceed.
Okay. Good afternoon, and thank you, Mr. Reeve, Deputy Reeve, councillors, and everyone else around the horseshoe. My name is Jim Knapp. I'm the president of the Frontenac ATV Club. We're a not-for-profit organization committed to providing safe, sustainable, and enjoyable ATV riding opportunities for our membership of almost 900. We're entirely self-funded through permit sales, and we maintain $15 million in trail and landowner liability insurance to ensure strong protection for our partners and the communities we ride through. Although I'm not here representing today, we are an affiliate of the Ontario Federation of All-Terrain Vehicle Clubs, recognized as Ontario's representative within the Canadian Quad Council. This structure provides us with strong governance, standardized policies, and national level alignment in rider safety. We work closely with municipalities and the OPP as partners to ensure responsible trail use. My purpose today is to respectfully request permission for the Frontenac ATV Club to access the section of Tay Havelock Trail running through Addington Highlands. This connection is essential for several reasons. It provides our members with access to gas stations, restaurants, and other local amenities. And most importantly, it serves as a link to the rest of Ontario's trail network. Regardless of which organization they belong to, ATV tourism brings real dollars into communities, be it food, repairs, supplies. All local services benefit from our presence on the trail network. Many of our members live in Addington Highlands, but they're forced to trailer their machines to Charlotte Lake or Verona just to participate in club activities. Granting access to this section of trail would give residents a safe, lawful way to access the network directly from where they live. Richard Allen, Manager of Economic Development for County of Frontenac, is sending this message with me today. The Frontenac ATV Club has become an important partner for Frontenac County in through financial contributions toward trail construction and maintenance, as well as providing volunteers to patrol and ensure the trail is cleared from fallen trees and debris. We also have seen significant economic benefit to this partnership, as there have been monthly events, sometimes two, that bring riders to Frontenac County from across the province. We look forward to growing our relationship with the club in the coming years. I want to thank you all so much for the time that you've given me to introduce you to the Frontenac ATV Club. Our commitment is to support safe, lawful riding for all of our members and to work with municipalities in a way that also benefits the communities we ride in. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Yes, the members of council have questions at this time for Jim? I have a couple questions. Well, obviously you're aware that the Township of Addington Highlands has essentially it's a management agreement.
Yes.
With the EOTA, I think since it's been quite a while, 2015 or somewhere around there, where they look after the trail really in its entirety, and they deal with other organizations essentially on our behalf regarding the use of the trail. And we have a representative that sits on their board, Bill Cox, who's sitting at the back of the room. Welcome, Bill. And there has been a bit of history. I'll be upfront with that, with a previous ATV club where they were trying to, I guess, strike an agreement with the EOTA, but they were unsuccessful with the two parties in coming to an agreement. And I know at that time, the EOTA had a draft agreement that they had produced, that they had provided to that club, but I guess they didn't accept the terms of it and never came to an agreement. My question is, has that type of agreement been in your discussions with the EOTA? I know you've provided a proposal, but have you discussed a proposal that they may have provided? I didn't ask the EOTA if they had provided you with a draft agreement, but has that happened?
I know there's been differences in the past with other organizations. We have not been presented with anything from EOTA regarding access. I have approached EOTA, and I get no, just a simple no.
Okay, so yes. So go ahead.
I'm sorry. I have approached an EOTA representative. I haven't made a formal proposal to them, but I have approached an EOTA representative on numerous occasions to discuss getting through, and I just get told no.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify something. So have you asked them for a proposal from them formally?
No, it won't. I'm being careful not to mention names.
No, that's okay. We don't need to mention names. No.
I just get told no, And there is no discussion.
Yeah.
The discussion ends there.
Yeah, so I can't speak for all members of council because we're at a body, but so we make decisions obviously jointly as a group. Addington Highlands, I mean, we have an agreement with the OTA, which you know that.
Yes.
There would never be I couldn't imagine a decision at the table today for us to say we're going to go in some other direction and strike up an agreement with some other organization. So I understand that you want access to it. I think, and I'll see what other members of council, what they think we should be doing at this stage. Personally, what I would like to see is certainly, I'd like to be involved and with the council, once other members of council involved. Our rep, Bill, a representative from our staff, and meet with the EOTA ourselves because they are the organization, just to get a refresher from them on the operation, only with the intent to understand the process very clearly, because we have the contract with them as to the right way to proceed with anyone else asking for access. I think I know what that is, but I think we should just have a discussion with the EOTA. So we're in alignment. I believe we are because we've gone down this path before. So that's just my thoughts on it. Does any other members of council have any thoughts on it? Yes, Councillor Olivier.
Just wondering, have you done anything in writing to the EOTA as a request?
No. Not for access through here, no.
No. Okay, because that may be a start as well, right?
Yes, and what I'm sort of direction I'm trying to go is that it's clear to any other organization, including your club, what the right procedure is to go about doing it and what specifically you should be asking for, so that everyone's time is well spent, right? In working through this issue.
Okay.
Deputy Reeve Hook?
I would support what you're suggesting, Reeve Fritsch. I don't have an ATV anymore, but if I was to ride an ATV on one of your trails, I would have to have a permit, right?
Yes.
Because you maintain the trail. And I guess what EOTA's position would be, they're maintaining that trail, and
Yes.
it would not be unusual that they would like some money to help pay for the maintenance as well. So I think that's probably what everybody's got to work out, what the agreement will be.
I have offered money. I've offered $5,000, but the conversation gets stopped. But I do understand what you're saying. There's a process. We'll do that. And we're not asking for a license of occupation at all. We just want to ride through.
Just to be clear, anyone can ride through right now if they buy a permit, right?
If you buy an EOTA
Yes, you
permit,
could. Yeah, there's nothing to stop you from doing that. You just have to buy the permit. Yeah. And that's an individual permit.
yes,
Yes.
we ride through other territories that have EOTA permit requirements as well.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? No. I'll make sure I include Councillor Thompson in this. You okay?
Yes.
Yeah, no questions, Councillor Thompson? Okay.
No, I was just going to say the same as Councillor Lavier had stated, that a formal request to the EOTA might be a wise place to start and just see what their stand is.
Thank you. Thanks, Councillor Thompson. So are you making the motion, Deputy Hook?
Yeah, I make a motion that we start dialogue with your representation on that committee of whoever you think is best to include on it, and get some dialogue going between EOTA and possibly the Frontenac ATV Club.
Yeah.
Stakeholders, and just see where it goes. Can't hurt.
Yes. Okay. So making that resolution, motion, and so that would include, so it would include either our CEO or a delegate. It would include Bill Cox, our representative on the board. I think a max of 2 members from council. I like to be there. Does anyone else from want to be part of it? That's optional.
I'd like to find out more about it, so it would be a good way to do that.
Okay. So then Councillor Levier, and we would meet with the OTA. Okay. You're okay with that? You okay? You think you got it? Okay. I don't think there's any other representation required. And then we'll see where that goes. You also have the option to make a formal request in parallel with them. Leave that up to you as an organization. You need to decide what you want to do, or you can wait to see what discussions we have. So,
Okay. Thank you very much.
okay. Okay, so we have a mover and a seconder. No, we don't have a seconder. It's Councillor Levier is a seconder. We'll call the vote. Councillor Thompson,
Yes.
Deputy Hook,
Yes.
Councillor Levier,
Yes.
and Councillor Yench.
Yes.
That motion is carried. Great. Thank you, Jim, and your other 2 members. I don't remember their names. Taking the time to come here today. Great. Thanks. Okay, we'll move on to item 7. 7.1 is Baseball for Dad, a request here from Lori Snyder to hang green ribbons throughout our municipality. I'm just trying to get this to open up. This is the same, it's the same request we normally get every year, and it's up to council. Deputy Hook,
Motion to receive and support.
seconded by Councillor Yench. Any questions, comments? No. I have just a question, Patricia. Were they going to put these signs anymore in the ground, or is this just green ribbons? Or do you know?
I believe typically they just put up the ribbons. We then also get some ribbons and signs, and we put signs along municipal properties, and then private landowners put signs.
Okay, great.
But along the roads and that type of thing, it would just be the ribbons.
Thanks for clarifying that. Appreciate it. So we had a mover and a seconder. Yep. And we did already? Yes. Yeah, I thought so. Call the vote, Councillor Thompson,
Yes.
Deputy Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Olivier,
Yes.
Councillor Yench.
Yes.
That motion's carried. Item 7.2, Cloynan District Historical Society request for annual donation. There is a draft motion there that we receive the request and approve it pending final adoption of the budget, because I believe this is included in our draft budget. So we have a mover for that. Councillor Levier, seconder, Councillor Yench. Oh, any questions? No. Call the vote, Councillor Thompson,
Yes.
Deputy Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Levier,
Yes.
Councillor Yench.
Yes.
That motion's carried. Item 7.3, Canadian History, EHX, Telling Your Story, a community history video partnership. It's a request from Craig Baird. I don't know that. Yeah, so the request is to the clerk and council. Does anyone have any knowledge of the organization? Deputy Hook?
I looked at a lot of the videos. He has a YouTube channel, and I looked a lot of them. And I did send this request to the board of directors of the Historical Society, and there was mixed review. Some liked the idea, and then some that actually looked at the videos said that, I don't know if any of council looked at the videos, but they're basically what we call a talking head video. The guy basically is reading a strip with a few photos, And to say that he's going to tell the story of how the community was formed or something, it's pretty tough to do an 11 to 20-minute video. I mean, the price is right, but you kind of get what you pay for. He's basically reading a script and he's showing his head on screen. So this is a non-budgeted item. So, yeah, I have mixed feelings on it.
I know when I had looked at it and I didn't have any knowledge of it, and he was describing, the video and the number of communities they're covering. I had to be honest, I was wondering what this video would look like and the quality of it, and if it would have the impact on our community that it should, even if it was a very low ticket item. Is it worth it? So, any other comments from members of council? Councilor Olivier?
Yeah, I was just wondering, I mean, I'm not familiar with this either. However, I'd like to know more if we can as to like, what's the end result? Because I tend to agree a 10 or 15 minute. And is this a one-time thing or is this an ongoing thing that people can reference? So that would be my thought on that.
Go ahead, Deputy.
I think his proposal says that he's going to create a video and it'll be on his YouTube channel, Facebook, Instagram, and so forth. So it would be a one-time thing. And he has like many, many videos that he's done for other areas across Canada. So he's kind of moving across Canada, stopping off and doing these. So it would get a lot of views. Is it going to help tourism? I don't know. But it is a one-shot deal.
It would just be like a hashtag type thing then. Yeah, okay.
Councilor Yance.
Motion to receive.
If a mover to receive, a seconded by Councilor Thompson. Any other comments? Councilor Thompson?
Yes.
Deputy Reeve Hook?
Yes.
Councilor Levier?
Yes.
Councilor Yance?
Yes.
That motion is carried. Item 7.4 on the agenda is from the Ministry of Seniors and Accessibility, requesting to nominate an exceptional local senior for the 2026 Senior of the Year Award. The deadline is not far away. Yeah, April 15th, so a week from now. Does any member, we all probably could come up with a name. Not like there's a shortage of seniors in our community that aren't outstanding from north to south. So I'll just turn it over to council to see if what they're thinking about it. It would be nice if there was time for us to actually have a couple names to discuss it, but this doesn't always work out the way. So here we are, Councilor Levier.
I think if I recall, we've had some senior things from the township already, have we not? For seniors and or volunteers?
Yes, there have been a number of people nominated in other years for different awards. Some at the Ontario level for different types of volunteers and some for the Senior of the Year Award, I believe, yes, it was. Yeah, in our community. That it has happened before, but usually we weren't making a decision at the 11th hour and the 59th minute. So, Councilor Olivier?
I'd recommend that we receive this and maybe advise that if there is a future one, if this is an annual thing or whatever, that maybe give us more notice in order to review that and possibly participate.
So maybe what we could do is next year, because I believe these awards it's an annual cycle. So we will know that it's going to come and be here with a deadline in April, likely next year. So maybe in early March or something, we could put it on an agenda in 2027 with the next term of council. And they would have some time to make a decision. So Any other comments? No. Deputy Reeve Hook.
Just a question, is this something they're asking the council to, the municipality not to nominate someone? Can an individual person nominate somebody? Because if it was, I was suggesting we put it on our Facebook page and people out in the community could nominate somebody. But I'm kind of at the website and not really clear what the answer is to that question.
I can't answer that. I know historically it has been the township that's nominated. I'm not saying others couldn't. I don't know that.
No, it doesn't say, and I couldn't get the link to work quickly. But it does request council to present the certificate in June during seniors awareness month, or seniors month. So I think it would imply that it would have to be some sort of formal presentation to that individual. So I'm not sure if it's open to the general public to make those nominations.
So we already had a motion? No.
Councillor Levier had said that he would be in favor of receiving the information and advise that more notice is required.
Yep.
And then I've added that perhaps the clerk could put it on an agenda in March of 2027. Because I do believe you're correct, it is an annual award.
Okay, so we have a mover. So maybe it's secondary, Deputy Reeve Hook. Any other questions? So we'll call the vote. Councillor Thompson?
Yes.
Deputy Reeve Hook?
Yes.
Councillor Levier?
Yes.
And Councillor Yantz?
Yes.
That motion's carried. So item 7.5 is a resolution from the town of Whitby seeking support. I'm not going to read the entire thing. Seeking support, calling on the province of Ontario to work collaboratively with the associated with AMO and Ontario big city mayors to take a comprehensive social and economic prosperity review to modernize and realign the provincial municipal fiscal framework, essentially ensuring we have revenues aligned with our costs. And you can't argue with that. Yes. Oh, sorry, I missed something. Councillor Thompson, did you have a question?
No, I just wanted to say I have to be excused for a few minutes, so just carry on.
Okay. Thank you for letting us know. Thank you, David, for pointing it out. Yes, Deputy Hook?
Motion to receive and support.
Yeah. And second by Councillor Yantz. So we will call the vote. Deputy Hook?
Yes.
Councillor Levier?
Yes.
And Councillor Yantz?
Yes.
That motion is carried. Item 7.6, request some support. Township of Oro-Medonte is requesting support for the Association of Ontario Road Supervisors, requesting provincial legislation amendments, health and safety concerns. So I thought this had been to council before, but maybe it was county council. It wasn't. No, it hasn't. Okay. Thank you. So what are council's wishes? Councillor Levier?
I just wanted to ask, is this something that we're experiencing here?
I don't think to the same degree. We have had incidents in the past where somebody has jumped out in front of a snowplow, for example. And we've had some pretty upset people at times, depending on the operation, what we're doing in that. But it's not prevalent, I would say here. We generally, most people in this area are pretty good to deal with, and we try and deal with them appropriately as well. So.
Yeah, go ahead, Christine.
just sort of along that line, council did, and the year is escaping me, I want to say 2019, um, sorry, 2023, adopt an unreasonable behavior policy, which was put into force to try to address instances of abusive and aggressive behavior towards staff. We have never had to use it. We've just put it in place as a kind of a clarification of process should an incident occur. But luckily, we've never had to put it into action.
Councillor Yance,
Motion to receive this.
I have a motion to receive. Seconded by Councillor Levier. I have a comment, and I thank you, for, Brett and Christine, for providing some updated information. And I think what tweaked my thoughts on this was, I believe it was the city of Peterborough had a recent article somewhere published in some news forum where they had been experiencing a significant number of issues. And so they were quite concerned about it. So maybe they were tied into this, providing feedback on this initiative as well. Okay, so we have a motion on the floor. We'll call the vote. Councillor Thompson.
He's muted.
You're muted, Kirby. Councillor Thompson, you're muted.
Sorry about that. Yes.
Nope, that's okay. Thank you. Deputy Reeve Hook,
Yes.
Councillor Levier,
Yes.
and Councillor Yance.
Yes.
That motion's carried. Matters for information. To start off, I guess before we can discuss it, we have a motion to receive all matters for information, moved by Deputy Reeve Hook, seconded by Councillor Thompson. Is there anything that anyone wants to specifically point out and comment on? I'll make one comment just on item 8.7 and 8.8. One was from Deputy Reeve Hook was commenting a little bit about it. Was the County of Lennox-Addington. This is regarding Alto high-speed rail, and both the Eastern Ontario Wardens Caucus have resolutions somewhat similar in opposition to the Alto project as it's proposed, certainly the north and south route, and both referring or suggesting that investment of dollars should be made in improving existing rail service and expanding that more in the vicinity of corridors, rail corridors that we have. No other questions. We have, Vanessa will call the vote. Councillor Thompson.
Yes.
Deputy Reeve Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Levier.
Yes.
And Councillor Yance.
Yes.
And that motion is carried. So I have to scroll through 2 pages of a lot of items on that part of the agenda. So I guess we're down now to section 9, reports of committees and boards. Work our way down. No, are there any one of those that anyone wants to report on? No. No, okay. Reports of officers. We'll move on to 10.1. Manager of Roads and Waste with your Roads and Waste update, Brett.
Well, I guess I'll start it with the roads. When I wrote the report, the roads were starting to thaw and now they're covered in snow again. Anyways, load restrictions are still in effect. We have done some grading on some roads as at times and when conditions permit. We don't want to make things anything worse than what it is currently. So there's certain times when we can do stuff and there's certain times that we can't. And I trust the public will be understanding when it comes to some of this work. Addington Road 2 mulching is occurring and progressing well. We did some mulching on Woodside Park Crescent and Dennison Drive as well. So that's ongoing. We built a stockpile of gravel in the Northbrook yard. We can haul it right from the quarry up to the yard and not have to go on any load restricted roads. So we've done that so we can have some material in the yard just in case of an emergency. We're getting some safeties done on our tag-along float trailers, and they'll be completed before the current safeties expired, obviously. Equipment prep, we're starting to get stuff ready for summer, although it doesn't look like it's coming today. We are trying to get things ready to go, and when the time comes, hopefully we're all ready. So as far as the waste sites go, operations are continuing and cleanup is ongoing as snow melts. So as the snow disappears, you start to see more and more little bits and pieces of garbage to clean up, and we're doing that. I'll mention again that the bins for the household garbage has worked well from on all accounts that I've heard anyways. So that's eliminating some debris in that in the landfills as well. Just a reminder to West Lemcoon waste site, Hartsmere waste site, and Vernacular waste site users that summer hours start April 1. So we're at that point. So be aware of the change in hours from winter hours to summer hours. And that's all I have for now. So.
Are there any questions? Thanks, Brett. Any Councilor Olivier, go ahead.
I just wanted to comment. I've heard from two of our residents that when the truck goes into the waste site to pick up the materials, they dump everything in the one truck. Then people are saying, well, why are we recycling is the question they're asking me.
So you're talking about the recycling, I guess. Our agreement with CMO, we have to have two separate streams of material. I'm not sure how they separate it at their facility. I wouldn't want to presume anything that way. Once we have it, we're working for them on this point, and we have to do as we're asked. What they do with it afterwards, I can't say. I presume if they're putting it in the same truck that it would be resorted when it got to their facility somehow. Maybe it's more labor intensive at their end, but I can't tell you exactly why they're doing what they're doing when they're hauling. That's kind of out of our hands at this point. So.
Okay, no, that's great. That answers the question. Thank you.
Any other questions for Brett? Brett, do you have a question? Go ahead, Deputy Clerk.
That's the first I've heard of that. And if that's the case, that's a little troubling to me. Because that indicates to me there is no sorting, that it's all going. So, I mean, if you've already got it sorted, that makes no sense at all. So it'd be interesting to find out actually what happens to it. Just for information, because I find that a little troubling that we go do a lot of work sorting that out to be recycled. And if it's not being sorted and at their end, that indicate to me that it's all going to landfill. I hope I'm wrong, but.
And Brett, because our contract is with Circular Materials, right? And it's a contractor that's hauling it. So they're hauling it to, it's not a Circular Materials owned company that's actually doing the sorting. So you might be able to explain, Brett, how that works.
Yeah, I guess I can explain how it works a little bit. The hauler is currently Mterra. They're the ones that are hauling the materials. They're the ones that have put the bins, the different types of bins in our yards. Then the material is picked up from our site and it's taken to Napanee, to the new facility on Highway 41, just be between Selby and Napanee, I guess is the best way to put it, or Robin and Napanee. Selby and Napanee, sorry. Yeah, I've been to the facility. They do have areas where you dump material. At least when we took it there, that's the way it was done. As I can't speak to what's being done with the materials now. It's kind of out of our hands, and I guess we don't own the material anymore as soon as they pick it up from the yard. So
Yeah, go ahead, Councillor Olivier.
Yeah, I just want to reiterate that, you know, the impression from our residents is, why bother? That's I think where the dilemma is.
One thing I will mention is I have seen where we have had at times where it's been the other way around too. It's been two separate trips in there to get different materials. So I don't think it's consistently happening that way. I'm not gonna, I have heard the same thing that you folks have heard, that it's been dumped into the same truck. Maybe they have a truck broke down and they want to give us capacity. I don't know their situation there. Yeah, so I guess I just want to make sure it's known that it's not every time that they're going to the waste site that this is happening. So
Would it be possible just to, so we all sort of understand that, just at least ask him Tara the question as to why so we can explain it to people.
Yeah.
Because we don't want, obviously, we all feel the same thing. None of us want recycling to go backwards in terms of our community's commitment to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I had a question for you, Brett, but I don't want to put you on the spot, so you could answer this at a future meeting. I was curious on two things. One is, and I didn't remember the deadline on the Simmons Bridge grant that we applied for, the timeline for that decision. That was sort of the first question. Do you remember?
I can't remember right off the top of my
No.
head when we expect to receive a response on that.
Okay,
So
that's fine. Maybe at a future meeting, just give us an update. The second one was on the Bridge Street culvert. When we might expect something back to council from the engineering firm? Do you have any
as
idea?
far as a potential design type of
Yeah,
thing,
so they're probably going to come back to council
Yeah.
with
options.
some work done, a report and
Yeah.
some options for us to
Yeah.
make a decision,
Yeah.
which way we go, and then they'll go ahead and finish the rest of their.
Yeah, so they
design.
are currently preparing to do the geotechnical work, so that's a first
Yeah.
step to get done. So once they get that done and get a bit of a survey done, then they can come up with a game plan and get back to us. So I can reach out to them and find out when they're potentially could have something to us, so.
Yeah, I realize we can't pin that down exactly, more just to keep us informed and the community informed, as that project progresses. That's.
Yeah, for sure.
Thanks, Brett. Yeah. Go ahead, Councillor Olivier.
Yeah, just to add, I guess then we're not going to see the bridge repaired till summertime. Is that correct? Or?
Yeah, I think that was the original intent when I brought my proposal to council
Yeah.
the last time. It'd be, I would say, late summer, early fall type of thing. So, yeah.
That's good
Yeah.
because we're getting a lot of questions, so.
We're also blocked out of a window right now, because I guess that's already started, of till near the end of June or mid-June in terms of
I
spawning
think it's
season.
middle of July for
Middle of
spawning.
July,
Yeah.
so there,
Yeah.
work wouldn't have occurred during those months anyway. Yeah,
Okay, it's just, it'll clarify for any of
Yeah.
the listeners.
any other questions for Brett? No? Okay, we have a motion to receive Brett's report. Councillor Yance, Councillor Olivier. I'll call the vote. Councillor Thompson,
Yes.
Deputy Reeve Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Olivier,
Yes.
Councillor Yance.
Yes.
That motion's carried. Thank you, Brett. And hopefully the snow will not reoccur this year or this spring. Okay, next on our agenda, 10.2 is a CBO Facilities Manager report. We'll turn it over to you, David.
Good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, we've got winter re-exposed. I hate that. CBO report for March. Building construction is starting to pick up. This snow doesn't help it any. It goes from an expression of let's get things going to a depression of roll up the windows and wait until spring shows up. But anyway, fielding a lot of calls lately. My expectations are that it's going to explode out the window here. Typically in years past, it's been slow and gradual, but this year, for some reason, it's been rather muted up to this point. And like I say, a week ago, things started happening. So really good to see, great to see. I'm also very actively engaged in working through open permits, still requiring inspections. There's a lot of those out there. It just seems to be the case that a lot of these situations get put on hold in the fall, and then they start asking questions and they get a little bit done here and there, but it's not like the summer process where it's methodically done in a way that gets you to the end game. So I did want to make a note, a workshop, and I field a lot of these calls. and it's all about sheds and what can I build without a permit. And about 2-3 years ago, the size of a quote workshop or storage shed increased to 160 square feet, which is quite a size shed, 10 by 16. I look at it that way, 16 feet long, 10 feet wide. There's a good amount of storage there when you look at a sea can container, pretty much the same size, 8 feet wide, 20 feet long. That's, again, you've got your storage there. So, but the code defines it, and you won't find it in Part 9. If you're looking in Part 9, which is all about house in the code, you will not find that 160 square feet mentioned there. You have to shift over to Part C of the code. And that's where you'll find the exception or the increase up to 160 square feet. Zoning setbacks still apply. So keep that in, and I'm saying this so everyone out there listening knows that zoning still applies. So we do have height restrictions on a lot of those sheds, depending on the zone. So it's worth a call to your building inspector to find out what those zoning, that zoning bylaw states in the specific zone as to a height restriction. In most cases, it's 14.7 grade to peak, not to midpoint of rafter. That was confusing. So we got it. We changed it over to grade to peak. Zoning setbacks still apply. So you've got to keep, if you're building something that is a workshop or a storage shed, and please remember that the definition is there. And they've narrowed in on that. A workshop or a storage shed can't be something that somebody's living in. So your zoning setbacks, setbacks from your lot lines, from your front yard, your backyard lot line still applies. So please give me a call if you think you're going to, put up a shed, and I'll go through there is no permit when it comes to zoning. It's just a good conversation I can have with you and expose the zoning setbacks as they relate to the project you're going to undertake. I mentioned trailers too. A trailer can be stored on site only and only after the primary use has been established. Trailers used for purposes outside of zoning bylaw requirements are in violation, and this practice is required to be terminated. So when I receive complaints and trailers being moved into certain areas, I follow up with letters. It gets pretty serious here. So you have to have, when I say primary use established, if you have a residence, you're building a residence, you can certainly, after the residence is built, you can store a trailer there. You know, those, for any residents out there, you can store a trailer. Can't be lived in. Can be stored beside or behind the house. Maximum length is 10 meters or 33 feet. So anybody has any questions on those situations, please give me a call. Spring's the time I see a lot of this stuff happen. That's why I'm mentioning it now. Facilities management, flooring installation, and that was reaffirmed. Mr. Reeve will like this. The flooring situation was reaffirmed a week ago that it will be happening at the end of April. So that's the flooring installation at the Denby Hall, slated to start April 20th. That has been confirmed, and the contractors devoted an entire week to that. So I can't wait to see that project start. Playground inspections are due to be completed in late April. We do annual playground inspections now to make sure everything's up to safety standards, and try to take any of those unsafe situations as quickly as possible and make them safe for young people or anyone for that matter using our playground equipment. Signs have been installed at all playgrounds identifying the address and emergency numbers. So if anyone has a situation that happens on any of these playgrounds, the signs are in place, and they're fairly large, 2 by 2, I believe. I put them up there a couple of weeks ago, and they've got the address and the 911 identification. So please be aware of that. Just again, trying to make things safe. When it comes to bylaw enforcement, there has been a report of pigs running at large. Please note that all animals are to be under the control of the owner at all times. This includes fencing for farm animals. Animals running at large will be picked up by animal control. Our chicken bylaw, Township of Addington Highlands has a comprehensive chicken bylaw. And again, it's spring. I'm expecting to see some situations out there. And this information, if anyone wants to read up on the chicken bylaw, is available on our website. And if you have any questions, please don't be afraid to give me a call. We can talk about it.
Yes, go ahead, Councillor Yance.
So I was just curious about the trailers, you know. I understand that if somebody's going to be maybe building a home, they'll bring in a trailer to live in until the residence is built. And I appreciate that. But can you just store, say a trailer, a house trailer that we would call a house trailer, just on an empty lot and not, can it just sit there?
No, you cannot. The
Okay.
primary use, our zoning bylaw states very specifically that the primary use has to be established. And only after the primary use is established can the trailer be stored on the lot. Can't be on an empty lot. You can't bring a trailer in and just decide to park it on an empty lot. Our zoning bylaw does not allow for that.
Deputy Cook.
I want to build a workshop, 8 by 10. What did you say, 8 by 10? 8 by 20 is allowed.
10 by 16.
10 by 16.
However you want to do it to get to 160 square feet.
So I'm going to build that. I don't need a permit, but in a year from now, I decide I'm going to rent it out as a bunkie. Can I do that?
No, you can't under our zoning bylaw do
Right.
that. Are people doing that? That's a loaded question, and I hope they aren't, because if we are driven. We are complaint driven. And if I got a complaint about a workshop, someone sends in a complaint using the proper forms, and I look back through and they tell me that there's a shed or a bunkie being used on the property. Now I look back through my files and see that it was taken out as a workshop. That's when I go into action and ask for that use to be discontinued.
Go ahead, Christine.
So just to clarify though, because Dave had mentioned earlier that a 10 by 16 building does not require a permit. So he wouldn't look back through his files to necessarily note that right, there wouldn't be a permit to look at. But what he would do is when we get the complaint, he would look back to say, hey, did I have a building permit for a bunkie? No, I didn't. And so then that would prompt a visits to the site to determine exactly what happened and a conversation with the property owner. So you wouldn't have a permit necessarily.
I'm sorry, yeah, I got that.
Yeah,
So
that's
the
okay.
permit would have to be taken out for the bunkie. And that's when I would look back through and go, no permit for a bunkie. There is no permit for a bunkie.
Thank you. I'm not building a workshop. I'm not building anything.
I knew you weren't, Ken.
I just, a comment on it, David. One was also the workshop or storage shed, you need to have the primary use has to be established. You can't stick that on a vacant lot either.
That's correct.
Yes. Just to clarify that, because when I read the first line, I'm thinking, somebody could say, okay, I can build one, but you can't.
No. Primary use
Unless you already-
facilities
yeah.
before any accessory buildings are considered.
Yeah. And go ahead, Councillor Olivier.
Laura, I'm just looking for clarification. As you probably remember, I built that extension on my house, the deck cover. And I wanted to clarify because there was some discussions among some of the residents. And basically, that cannot be like a 10 by 16 does not apply for that, like it would for the shed.
No, it doesn't.
Okay. I just
So wait, so you were building a porch?
basically a cover to a porch.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. No, the two are apples and oranges.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah, no, that's good. I just,
Yep.
so everybody knows.
Yep.
Thank you.
I have one other, I would say, comment question. It's regarding playgrounds, because we have a couple as soon as it dries up, or one in Denby that requires a little bit of work to finish it off. I'm gonna say landscaping and stuff, just for information more than anything. I think the roads department, I think, is gonna help out with that when the conditions are suitable. Yeah.
I was actually, Perry lended a hand drive and a couple of stakes in up there in front of the playgrounds to put the safety signs up. And Perry mentioned the fact that the playground down at Heritage Park needed the slide put in, and he was ready to go to it, but it was a little early.
Yeah.
There's still 2 feet of snow on it.
Right.
And around the one up at the ACK, it needs some landscaping.
Yeah, so when we get to the one at the ACK, because the Denver River Griffith Lions Club has donated 2 benches for that, so we would work with Councillor Olivier's on that organization as well. So we would work, when they're going to do work there, it'd be good if one of us are notified so we could be there and just say, we'll put the benches here, so we don't landscape where it's not suitable for benches. That's all.
Very good. Thank you.
Just a comment. Thank you. Yeah. Any other questions for David? No. Okay, thank you for your report, David. We have a motion to receive the report. Moved by Councillor Olivier, seconded by Councillor Thompson. We'll call the vote. Councillor Thompson.
Yes.
Deputy Reeve Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Olivier.
Yes.
Councillor Yantz.
Yes.
That motion is carried. We move on to item 10.3.1, 2026 municipal election recount policy. This is handed over to you, Christine.
Thank you. So as noted in my report, section 56(1) of the Municipal Election Act states that the clerk shall hold a recount in specific circumstances. So they'll do a recount of the votes of 2 or more candidates who receive the same number of votes and cannot both or all be declared elected to the office. They'll also do a recount of votes on a bylaw if the votes for the affirmative and negative are equal. And they'll also do a recount of the votes for 2 or more answers to a question if the votes are equal. The process on how we do that recount, that's included in the policies and procedures as are approved by the clerk prior to the municipal election. I believe the deadline for that is June the 1st, that I'll have all of those policies and procedures finalized. However, section 5.6 subsection 3 as amended also states that a municipality may, by bylaw, adopt a policy with respect to the circumstances in which the municipality requires the clerk to hold a recount of the votes cast in an election. So just differentiating between the two, we have to do a recount when there is a tie vote. But we do also have the discretion to hold a recount if the vote is close, just as an example. So should council wish to adopt a policy with respect to recounts aside from the tie vote, the bylaw to adopt that policy must be adopted by May 1st in the year of the election. So we have until May 1st in order to put something in place. So unsure of council's wishes, but acknowledging sort of the tight timeline between now and May 1st, I did draft a sample report for council's consideration should you wish to sort of put a policy in place to provide guidance in the event that there is a very close vote. Although council is not required by legislation to adopt a policy with respect to votes in a situation where the vote is close, it does actually provide a transparent and consistent process should this situation ever arise. So essentially, in a nutshell, the policy just stipulates that in addition to a tie vote, we would also do a recount in a situation where the disparity between the 2 votes is 10 votes or 0.25% of the total number of votes cast. So for us, that would be 10 votes would be the lesser of that or the greater of that value. One other thing to note on the policy is that it would be upon the written request of the candidates. They would have to submit something in writing for that to happen. It just wouldn't be an automatic thing. And then if there is a disparity outside of that, then that would be a written request to council as well. Does anyone have any questions about that? I don't feel I explained that very solidly. However, it is what it is.
Yes, I go ahead, Deputy Reeve Hook.
This election, we're going to continue with electronic voting.
Correct.
So the recount on that is, I mean, it never varies, right? It's what it is.
Simple.
It is what it is, but we have other ways of voting as well for people that need some assistance. So that would be the area what somebody may question if there was human error in that, if possible. Is there other areas that you think that could possibly result in any kind of a recount?
I don't think, if I'm going to be honest, because we do solely telephone and electronic voting, there wouldn't be a change in the result. To your point about the assistance that we provide at voting centers, just as an example, we provide them with the platform. So we'll provide them with a tablet or a laptop, whichever. We've used tablets in the past. They work really great, just a touch screen. We facilitate that process, but we actually don't cast their votes on their behalf. That is something, and we will assist. They can bring people in to help them. They have to fill out a form and sign off that they're okay with that. But we don't physically cast a vote for anyone else. That's done completely by themselves or with the assistance of a person who's come in with them.
Yes, go
So
ahead.
essentially, you're saying there's no way, no reasonable way we could have an error in the voting results, the way it's done.
Not really.
So if that's, I can see why you've, prepared a bylaw, a draft bylaw for transparency, but there's maybe not even any use for that, the way we do things.
Yeah.
It would be the same process if it's a tie vote as well. We would still go through that motions because we're obligated to do that.
Yeah. an additional comment is that if we change the method of voting for any reason at the last minute, so to speak, almost, if for any reason, if it was council decided to change it for that year, or if there was some technical glitch, that won't happen, but I mean, way ahead of time where we ran into some problem, there may be alternate methods of voting that would have to be taken. I won't go into that, but I mean, there's no harm in having this policy.
No.
Because then it applies to any way that you would vote, choose to vote, right? Whatever means. Councillor Yance?
Yes, and as long as the person that's voting is registered and has the paperwork, that's all we need really. And but yes, I think we just need to maintain this. Yeah.
Councillor Olivier?
Yeah, this will be my first municipal election since we moved out here. So there's no polling stations?
No,
Okay.
since, and again, it started before I was an employee of the municipality, but it's my understanding since 2006, the Township of Addington Highlands employed internet and telephone voting solely with no traditional polling stations. Prior to that, it was mail-in voting, largely due to the fact that we are, 3/4 of our property owners are seasonal. So they're not local, so very difficult for them to access traditional polling stations. For the elections that I've been involved in, it's very, very slick, very easy to manage from the perspective of staff. The telephone option provides residents who may not be as savvy with technical or electronics, and it's usually very easy to read or very easy to do. It's simply listening to the phone, and you just select based on the prompts. You select the number that goes with your selection. It's worked very, very well in the past.
Okay, just a little add-on for the seniors that need help, or people that need help. I shouldn't point out just seniors. They need to apply to the township to get this tablet, or?
Nope. So what we will do is we have voting information centers that are available.
Okay.
And we have them available for a period of time, not just on voting day. So on voting day, people can come to the municipal office for assistance, as well as to the meeting room at the Addington Highlands Community Center in Denby. So those two are open on election day.
Okay.
Plus, you can come to the municipal office anytime once the advance polls open. And then we have set times, usually surrounding the library hours, that we are available for assistance at that location too. We also actually, and I'm thinking we're intending to do this as well, have gone into Pine Meadow nursing home just to make sure that they are on the list. First of all, we've gone 2 visits, 2 different times. Anyone who needs help getting onto the list, we do that. And then we go back usually and make sure that they're okay with accessing the voting platform.
That's great. Thank you.
Sorry? That's right. Yeah. So they receive a letter. Actually, everybody does. So once you're on the list, you'll receive a letter that in that letter, it has your voting credentials included in that, and you use that to cast your votes. And we can supply that letter. So if somebody finds on election day that, oh my goodness, it's 2:00 in the afternoon and I'm not on the list, or they'll come in for assistance and they're not on the list, we're able to add them to the list, produce the letter, and even provide them with a kiosk to vote.
Okay, that brings me to another thought. If I want to confirm that I am on the list, being the first time that I'm voting, how do I go about it?
So right now you can, and we're working on updating our website to get this information on there, but
Okay.
you can go to the Elections Ontario website. This is probably the biggest change for this election. Up until this election, MPAC managed the voter list. That's no longer the case. Elections Ontario is managing that list. They will do that up until the cutoff point, which I believe is August 29. No, that's too late. A date in August. I don't want to commit to which one. Once that that cutoff date occurs, then they provide the municipality with the preliminary list of electors. Once we have the list, we're then responsible for making those updates. So if you want to do it now, go to the Election Ontario website, make sure you're registered as an elector in Addington Highlands. If you wait until after we have the list, you can contact us and we'll get you on there.
Great, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Go ahead, Councillor Yance.
What credentials do you have to become a voter to get on that list?
So to be eligible to vote in the Township of Addington Highlands, you have to be 18 years of age. You have to be a Canadian citizen. You have to own property or be a tenant on a piece of property, or be the spouse or the children or a dependent of someone who owns property or is a tenant in the Township of Addington Highlands. Oh, and you cannot be precluded from running for office in the township by any other act or piece of legislation. I think I got them all.
Thank you. A comment is, I know probably other members of council experienced this. I've voted both ways personally, and honestly, I can say the telephone one is probably almost the least effort. You don't have to do anything. You just pick up the phone. You don't even have to go online. So it is slick and simple. Very, very simple. Yeah. Yeah.
Just as a summary, it's up to council. We've never had a recount policy before. We were looking through sort of what we needed to review in advance of the election and some deadlines we have coming up. And we thought we've never put this to council before for consideration, thought we would do it this time. The only direction is you can receive it and that be all, that'll be the end of it, or direct council to adopt or to create a bylaw to adopt the policy at the next meeting.
Councillor Yance?
And just one more comment. Please, everyone, just go out and vote. There's no excuse to only have 29% of eligible voters vote in our municipality. So it's a very important thing that you need to do. And I know most of our eligible voters don't live here all year round, and they're the people that we also need to have get out and vote. Thank you.
Okay, council. So what's your wishes? You want to include essentially retain the policy that we have, or expand the recount policy? Deputy Hook?
Since it's prepared, and it is possible that we could have a vote that's close, 10 votes or less, I think we should adopt the policy. We may never use it. And I guess it's up to a candidate to request it, right? So no harm in adopting the policy, so I would vote in support of that.
Thank you. We have a mover. Seconder, Councillor Thompson. Any other comments? Call the vote, Councillor Thompson.
Yes.
Deputy Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Levier.
Yes.
Councillor Yance. Motion's carried. Thank you, Christine. And you had one other item you wanted to bring up?
I do. Thank you. I had omitted putting it on the agenda, but even more so, I actually omitted including something in our budget meeting that we had back in March. The folks that are organizing the pitch-in for Mother Earth Day have met with Brett and I pretty early on in the season, long before we were even thinking about picking up of the trash initiative that they do, which is a fantastic event that they organize, and the township has supported that wholeheartedly in the past by providing a staff member and a bin at a central location to help collect that garbage at the end of the event. But when we met with them earlier on this year, they did ask for a financial donation of $300 to put towards some supplies that they need to use for some supplies that they need for the event. And I did omit that on our budget meeting agenda. So I'm requesting council to consider approving a $300 donation coming out of miscellaneous expense in the general budget, just to donate to this cause. The impact on the levy would be, we wouldn't even notice $300, to be honest. My apologies for the oversight.
So Deputy Reeve Hook, go ahead.
So this donation will go to the Garden Club / Lions Club. I think they're the two organizers. Yeah. I would make that motion.
Maybe I have my microphone off. So we have a mover and a seconder. We'll call the vote. Councillor Thompson,
Yes.
Deputy Reeve Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Olivier,
Yes.
Councillor Yantch.
Yes.
That motion's carried. Thank you. So we will move on to section 10.4, Deputy Clerk, Planning Secretary. The first one, 10.4.1, is a policy for use of corporate resources during the municipal election period. Patricia.
Thank you. So yes, we're keeping with the election theme right now. The Municipal Act, Elections Act requires that before May 1st in the year of a regular election, municipalities and local boards establish rules and procedures with respect to the use of municipal or board resources during the election campaign period. We do have a rules and procedures bylaw with that regard. It was enacted in 2018 and was attached to the report. The clerk and I have reviewed the policy and made some updates to the rules and procedures in accordance with that provision in 7.2, which allows for that update, and a revised policy is attached. So there is a recommendation that it be resolved that the report be received and that staff be directed to prepare a bylaw for April 21st council meeting to adopt the revised policy and repeal the previous bylaw 0533/2018.
Thanks, Patricia. So have any comments for Patricia on or questions? No? I don't see any. So there is a staff recommendation. Do we have a mover? Councillor Yantch and Councillor Thompson. Okay, we'll call the vote. Councillor Thompson,
Yes.
Deputy Reeve Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Olivier,
Yes.
Councillor Yantch.
Yes.
The motion's carried. Thank you, Patricia. We'll move on to the next one, 10.4.2, a bylaw regulating the placement of municipal election signs.
Yeah, so this bylaw was enacted in 2022. It's a bylaw regulating the placement of municipal election signs within the township. And there have been no changes made to this bylaw. It was reviewed by staff and we proposed no changes. If council wishes to amend any part of the bylaw, those amendments should be approved at this meeting and staff be directed to present an amended bylaw at the next regular council meeting for enactment and repeal of the existing bylaw.
Okay, thanks. So do we have questions or comments for Patricia on this? So as it stands, the staff recommendation is to receive it. Staff have reviewed it and we would not be making any changes to it. It's okay. So, okay. We have a mover. Deputy Reeve Hook, seconded by Councillor Olivier. Call the vote. Councillor Thompson.
Yes.
Deputy Reeve Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Olivier.
Yes.
Councillor Yantch.
Yes.
That motion is carried. Okay, Patricia, we just keep moving on to 10.4.3, an amendment to the Liquor License and Control Act regarding bring your own alcoholic beverages.
Yes, thank you. So the provincial government announced starting April 30th that Ontario citizens will be able to bring their own alcoholic beverages to municipally designated cultural or community outdoor public events. These events include such things as farmers markets, movie screenings, art exhibits, and neighborhood festivals. The regulation permitted previously tailgate events, which were public events that were held outdoors in connection with professional and semi-professional or post-secondary sporting events. The tailgate event was prescribed to be a special occasion and as such qualified for a permit from the Alcohol and Gaming Commission. The permit included the permission to permit individuals to possess and consume liquor sold or served under the permit or brought to the permitted premises where the tailgate event was being held. On April 30th, the regulation is being amended to strike out tailgate events and replace it with bring your own event. The bring your own event term is defined as meaning a public event that is held at an outdoor premises that is at ground level, where the event is held in connection and in proximity to a professional, semi-professional, or post-secondary sporting event, or has been designated by the municipal council or its delegates as a cultural or community event, and at which individuals may possess and consume liquor brought to the premises by attendees. So this amendment requires that the event be designated as a cultural or community event by the council of the municipality where it's being held. Municipalities will need to establish a process by bylaw that would determine whether the event qualifies for that cultural or community event status. Event organizers would then be able to apply for a bring your own event permit from the Alcohol and Gaming Commission. It does not mean that there's been any changes that allow the public to bring their own alcohol to outdoor public spaces or parks or recreation facilities. No changes have been made in that regard to the liquor out of residence rules. Legislation does not regulate the process of determining what qualifies as a cultural or community event. These types of events can include community celebrations such as festivals, events that have significant community profile, events that are beneficial to local residents, such as charity fundraisers. So policy would need to be established by bylaw, and a process could include an application to the municipality similar to our special event license that we currently have. And the process would be that organizers would provide an application. The details of the event include the provisions for such things as security and garbage, that type of thing. Then the approval would be in a form of a resolution or a letter authorizing the event as a charitable or community event. That approval would then be included in their application that goes to the AGCO for their special occasion permit. So although it does not require municipalities, councils to although the legislation does not require municipal councils to delegate or designate an event as cultural or community event, or require that a policy be enacted, we do anticipate that we will have those types of requests from different organizations, and therefore staff recommend that we prepare a policy and process for determining whether an event qualifies as a cultural or community event, and provide it to council for your consideration and approval. Once the policy is enacted, it is recommended that council consider also delegating the authority to approve the applications, as timing would be important, as most events will likely happen in the summer. Council only meets once per month, and this would provide a mechanism as well for an appeal if their application was denied. Then council would be the appeal authority for that consideration. So I did include some information in the report, as being the announcement from the government and the regulation that is changing. And the recommendation would be to receive the report and further direct staff to prepare a policy and process for determining whether an event qualifies as a cultural or community event, and provide it to council for consideration at the April 21st council meeting. Thank you.
Thanks, Patricia. Do you have any questions for Patricia? Councillor Olivier?
I guess if I look at the Smart Serve, it's where it can be pretty scary when you look at the Smart Serve as far as the responsibilities or liabilities that we take on. I'm assuming that we would have something to pass that on to whoever the organizer is, as far as that liability, or would the township take on the liability? Because it's going to be very hard to control what people are drinking on the outside. It's hard enough to control it while you're in an enclosed environment, but when you're out there, you don't even know what they're bringing. So I just want to highlight that point that, who's going to be responsible for enforcing that because of the liabilities involved.
Patricia?
The legislation is changing that they could bring their own. So yeah, as far as smart serve or regulating the consumption, that is going to be very difficult. We could regulate like a designated area. So if there's a community event, say it was here, and we did deem it to be an event that qualified, then there would be, we could require that there be in a designated area that alcohol is consumed. But it would be the AGCO that would then be providing that special occasion permit, and their regulations would apply. Yeah.
Yes, I think in terms of township liability, yeah, there may be increased risk, but the liability would be the same as.
I'm just wondering, sorry, I'm just wondering then, the organizer would have to go to the AGCO to get the permit, which would make them liable for the, if there's an accident on the way home type of thing. That's a big risk.
And any events held on municipal property, we do require that they also have insurance. Pardon me? And we have our alcohol policy, yes. Yep.
That's great, thank you.
Yeah.
And
Christine?
just to clarify, these events don't necessarily have to be on township property, right? They can be anywhere. So the ask is going to come to us that they need to prove that it's a municipal or culturally significant event, and it's a policy outlining how to go about assessing the events in terms of that significance that staff is looking to adopt, looking to have council adopt.
Councillor Yance?
Yes, so I'm just to clarify this. So let's say there was a hockey tournament out here, and so they would have to, township would have to decide whether that was a cultural thing or whatever, and decide that. And then would they be able to have alcohol, like a tailgate party, which a lot of people might have at that time? So is that how that would work, or would they still we'd have to say, no, you have to have your alcohol in a designated area? Not the parking lot. I'm just trying, it's lots of things to think about, right?
So we would be the ones to designate it that, yes, we agree, it's a culturally significant or community benefit, and therefore we'll give them that status. They then still need to go to the Alcohol and Gaming Commission, apply to receive that special occasion permit, meet all of their requirements and guidelines in order to receive that, which also may include designated areas.
Deputy Reeve?
On August 1st, we have a big community event for the approximately 150 years of Flinton and the 50th anniversary of the Flinton Rec Club. I just wonder if there's been any requests for alcohol, because in some events, like mainly that one, maybe the Flinton Rec Club would want to sell alcohol as a fundraiser, so they wouldn't want a bring your own event, because that would kind of negate the benefit of that. So I guess it's totally up to the organizers to come forward, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Patricia?
Oh,
Yeah, we'll go. Go ahead.
I guess what I was thinking, piggyback on Councillor Hook's comment. So I'm kind of confused. So anyway, if, let's say the Flinton Rec Club had alcohol here in the building, um, to purchase, and as a fundraiser, because that's what people do, we wouldn't be able to let anybody else walk around on the grounds with alcohol. No. Okay.
No, that's correct. So if they're applying for their permit from the AGCO to serve alcohol at the function, any function, or any, even if it's a Jack and Jill, anything where they're using the bar and they're serving, then I would presume you would never qualify for the second permit as well. And again, it would have to be something we would designate, so they would apply to us. We did have one, not the same, but a similar thing where council did consider an event and determine whether it was significant to the community, and it was a fundraiser for a charitable organization, and they were allowed to get an occasion permit to sell alcohol there or provide alcohol there. And so council did make that determination once they had all the details of the event, but this would allow people to bring it, but again, it would be, they would apply to the municipality just to receive the designation. Then they still need to meet all the requirements of the AGCO. And yes, if it is an event where they're selling it here, then they wouldn't have the same.
Any other questions? Since requests are likely going to come our way, I think we might as well deal with this now rather than later when we are scrambling to deal with it. So there is a draft resolution in there from staff. What are your council wishes? Deputy Reeve Hook?
Well, motion to approve the staff recommendation. So that is to prepare a policy and bring it forward, I guess, for council approval. So I'll make that motion.
Moved by Deputy Reeve Hook, seconded by Councillor Olivier. We will call the vote. Councillor Thompson?
Yes.
Deputy Reeve Hook?
Yes.
Councillor Olivier?
Yes.
And Councillor Yance?
Yes.
And that motion is carried. And we move on to 1044 Planning Services. This is regarding an RFP for planning services. Patricia.
Thank you. So we discussed this previously at the June 3rd meeting last year, that our planning services were procured from an outside consultant, and until recently, the registered professional planner who had been working with the municipality for over 2 decades was departing from that firm. And staff recommended to council that we consider a request for proposals for the provision of those services. We did retain that registered professional planner for the official plan and zoning bylaw updates, as he was already working on those files. So there was a resolution that resolved to report that the report be received, and further that council consider issuing an RFP for planning services in the near future, and that the township contract Mark Towa Boulevard Group as a retained planner for the finalization of the official plan and zoning bylaw review and update. So staff have prepared an RFP for council's consideration, and if approved, we recommend that the RFP be advertised with a deadline for submissions being 3 weeks from the date it is advertised. The scope of the RFP is for the township to retain a consulting firm, professional or professional individual who will be acting as the township planner on an as-needed basis. The successful proponent will serve as the primary planning professional for the township, providing comprehensive planning services while working collaboratively with both internal staff and, when required, external consultants to ensure efficient and effective service delivery. This will be achieved by working closely with the Deputy Clerk Planning Secretary and the clerk to coordinate planning matters and ensure consistent municipal service delivery and external resources as required, including the township's legal counsel, peer review consultants, environmental or engineering, and other specialized consultants to support comprehensive development review and municipal planning functions. So a draft RFP was provided to council, and it was resolved that recommended that this report be received, and further that the draft RFP for to provide municipal land use planning consulting services be approved and released, and further the deadline for submissions be 3 weeks after the RFP has been released. Thank you.
Thanks, Patricia. We have questions for Patricia? Questions? Do you have a question? Yeah, go ahead, Deputy Funk.
I really like this. I think it's well done. I particularly like the in-person service delivery section 2.2, where it asks the proponents to how they would address pre-consultation meetings with prospective applicants. And I think that's very important on some cases, you know, for the ability for the planner to actually go to the site where there's a problem area and talk to them and say, well, this may not be possible, but this might be. It would save a lot of time and heartache, I think, from people that have problems with that. So I think that's a nice addition to really spell that out and see how that's possible. And also, there was, and I was going to add, it's certainly difficult when you have a planner that's in Toronto that knows nothing about the area. Hopefully we can get a more local contractor that's, you know, it's not going to cost an arm and a leg to get somebody to make an on-site visit. In the rare case that would ever be necessary, because probably wouldn't be necessary in most cases. The other thing was the response time for questions. And I know sometimes it's very long to get a response and is very aggravating for people that actually have a specific question regarding, say, a severance. And I think if we could add in the evaluation criteria on number 4, I don't think it mentions that how the, that could be an important evaluation criteria, the response time, and have them, whatever they say that the response time could be. I think that's pretty important because if they say, well, you know, we get to it, it might be 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks. That's not really acceptable. So I think it should be just one of the ways that we evaluate the planner. That's my only 2 comments, but overall, I think it looks excellent.
Thank you. Other questions? I do have a comment somewhat similar to Deputy Hook. I thought it was very well worded. A lot of thought had gone into this. And compared to, I guess, the scope of any previous RFP for similar services, this must be a change from that. When I read it, I think there's a lot of thought went into this based on experience of our staff involved as to how to make this process work well and I wouldn't say improved over the service we have, but make sure it works well and in the person who's requesting the service. Helping them along in this process because we've seen historically sometimes staff provide an option, certainly provide and encourage this pre-consultation up front, and some folks don't participate in it, and that can make it really difficult because you don't understand and you just keep thinking people are asking me more and more and more and more, and so it's, yeah, that's outlined very clearly in here. Yeah, Patricia?
Yes, and our municipality has not in the past required pre-consultation, and we have no fee for it. Most municipalities either make it a requirement or it's an option, and if it's a requirement, they charge a fee for it. So we typically encourage the applicants to submit the application. Typically, I would take a review of it to see if it, you know, if there's anything standing out right off the bat. And if not, then I would encourage that we consult with the planner and have their first look at it to see if they feel that it's supportable or not. It does speed the process up. They're not looking to just necessarily come out to the site right then during the pre-con, because then that's added expense to the applicant as well. But if they're willing to do that and take on that expense, then because we recover all of our costs that we're charged by the planning consultant, so they could come out to take a look. Typically, I would go to the site. I will provide pictures and photos to the planner and that type of thing. If there's anything that is a bit of a red flag or doesn't completely comply, then yes, they're more than willing. In the current planner we have, they've always been more than willing to come up and take a look. So pre-con is something that's very useful, and applicants should take advantage of that, even though there may be a cost that we recover with the application, but it does streamline the process. It takes out a lot of the things that come up afterwards. If there's a study required that perhaps I didn't mention, then that pre-con then will capture that. So it helps the developer quite a bit to have that done ahead of the application. The services that we've received in the past and how they've changed along the way, we've started out with, I don't know what that original RFP looked like, because we've had that planner, that company, and followed along with them ever since before I started. So we had that original planner. Then that company was bought out by a little bit larger firm. The sort of the lead hand sort of thing took over for that original planner. Again, they were bought out. So it's just morphed into something much larger, and that now that it's not the same as having that personal experience with that person, but it's time for an RFP. Yeah. And municipalities share a lot of documents. I did not write this RFP from scratch, but I'm glad everyone is pleased with it.
Regardless, it's a good document. You did the work, so. Any other questions for Patricia? So we have a recommendation. We have a mover, Councillor Yanch, and seconded by Deputy Reeve Hook. Do you have another question?
Oh, just to consider adding
Yes.
that factor on, what was it? The response time for questions, that so forth.
Yes, it was expected that would be included. Yes, should have brought that up. Okay, we'll call a vote. Councillor Thompson.
Yes.
Deputy Reeve Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Levier.
Yes.
Councillor Yanch.
Yes.
And that motion is carried. Move on to 10.4.5, the CDR 3, the boat cleaning washing unit stats from 2025. Patricia has another report.
Yeah, so this report was just to provide council with the statistics that Quinte Conservation forwarded on to us for the boat cleaning or boat washing station that was used throughout the municipality at 3 different locations and time periods. It included a report from the Invasive Species Center, providing information and data from the unit, and it provided the tool usage for each location. So the unit was placed at Mazenau Lake at Bon Echo Provincial Park Lagoon during June 4th to the 11th. Scutamata Lake between July 2nd and July 9th at the Trails End Boat Launch, and Buckshot Lake at the North Shore Boat Launch during the week of August 6th to the 13th. And I confirmed with Quinte Conservation on how to interpret the tool usage, and according to the information provided by the Invasive Species Center, it would appear that a visitor could use multiple tools during one session. So it would appear with the stats that there were 15 users during the week of June 23rd to the week in June, sorry, 23 users during the week in July, and 18 users during the week in August, if it's interpreted correctly. We did inquire to see if the unit was available again for 2026, and unfortunately, due to popular demand, Quinte Conservation was not able to obtain the unit for this year, so they're still hopeful that they can get it in 2027. So the recommendation with the report is just that the report be received.
So any questions or comments, Deputy Hook?
Would we be able to just email that report to the SDRA, Massillon Property Owners, Buckshot Lake, and the Echo? Just for information for them? They might, well, they should be interested in seeing it anyways, if they can decipher it.
Yes, Councillor Yanch?
Yes, this I think was a very good program and a great start. I think at first people were like, they were kind of wondering what the heck it was, but once they realized what it was, it was very useful. But I don't know whether any of us even know the answer to this. How much does one of these cost?
I did question that in the very beginning, and it was a lot. I think 60,000. Yeah, 60,000 US. Yeah.
That's insane.
Okay, any other questions for Patricia? So you have a staff recommendation. Moved by Councillor Olivier, seconded by Deputy Hook. Call the vote. Councillor Thompson?
Yes.
Deputy Hook?
Yes.
Councillor Olivier?
Yes.
Councillor Yanch?
Yes.
That motion is carried. Nothing from Deputy Treasurer Office Supervisor, Fire Chief. Reports of yes. Go ahead, Brett.
Sorry, Tony. I was able to find out when that response should be for Simon's Bridge. So
Okay, go ahead.
they say that we'll usually hear back within 3 months of the intake deadline. So the intake deadline was the end of February, so it'll be 3 months from that. So
Into May. Thank you, Brett. Item 11, reports of appointees. Anything to report?
Nothing, no.
No, nothing. No. Any resolutions? No, none. Item 13, approval of the accounts as of March 31st. Any questions? A motion to approve by Councillor Yanch, seconded by Councillor Olivier. Any questions? No. Question, go ahead, Deputy Falk.
All right, just trying to find it. There was 4 pairs of boots. No, there's probably more to the description that you can probably fit in there, but it was under the fire, 4 pairs of boots for like $3,200. I always question these, there might have been more to the order, but like, maybe these are bunker boots, I'm not sure.
We have very limited space in the
Yeah, I see.
description line. Bear with me just 1 second.
Still looking for it.
Doesn't really explain to me what they are, but I can tell you that they were Fire Eagle Air men's 11-inch leather. We ordered 4 of them, and they were $749 each. So my assumption is, and again, not being fully versed on PPE for the fire department, is that they are bunker, like boots to go with bunker gear.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Have a motion to, we never had a motion on it, did we?
No.
No. Have a motion to approve? Councillor Olivier, seconder? Oh,
My apologies. Yes, we have a mover and a seconder. Yep, sorry. Councillor Yance and Councillor Levier.
yes. Call the vote. Councillor Thompson,
Yes.
Deputy Reeve Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Olivier
Yes.
and Councillor Yance.
Yes.
That motion's carried. Item 14, members' statement. Councillor Yance, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I should have mentioned this when we were talking about the election. I just came, I was thinking that, do we ever, as a council, become a lame duck or lame ducks? I think sometimes we forget this.
We can, and Christine can explain it.
It is possible, and we won't know that until nomination day, which is August the 19th. I'm getting the 19th and the 29th mixed up. My apologies. I should have had my election calendar in front of me. On nomination day, we will know if we're lame duck or not. And it all depends on the number of people who run for a position and the probability of us not having at least 2/3 of our members returning. Okay? Does that? Okay. Patricia's looking up nomination date. 21, that wasn't even one of the ones I thought. August 21st, nomination day.
Yes. Councillor Olivier.
Lame duck for me.
So a lame duck council is an outgoing Ontario Municipal Council restricted under the Municipal Act from making major financial or hiring decisions. And it occurs if less than 75% of the current members are re-elected. Yeah, so we need to make sure as a council, that's why obviously we're passing the budget. That's our major financial decision. And usually that's the only financial decision that council does make. The other would be our purchasing policy does stipulate that any purchases over $50,000 need to be approved by council prior to awarding the contract. So my recommendation to staff would be to ensure we have any results of our RFPs in before that deadline. It could be argued though that it is included in the budget, so therefore we're not making the decision to purchase. That's already been made. It's just whether or not we're going with that supplier. But to be on the safe side and not open us up to a code of conduct violation or a municipal act violation, we would want to have all of those decisions made prior to then. Also, because this council has not, and we will be bringing up a delegation of authority bylaw to council to consider prior to that date, because there are certain things that you can delegate, and we did do that for the last election, just in order for us to be able to respond to emergency situations should they arise. Key hiring, we have nothing planned for this year for hiring staff or hopefully terminating staff, but those things would have to be done before council is considered lame duck or the implementation of a delegation of authority bylaw.
Thank you.
Okay, then we have to move on. I do want to make one comment and member statement, just a reminder to everyone here and everyone listening of the town hall meeting on housing and homelessness in Northbrook on Thursday, April the 9th at the Land Lakes Lions Club from 2 to 4 p.m. This type of event has not occurred before and it will never occur very often. This is your one opportunity to not to have I'm going to say, a very convenient and easy method of listening in and becoming up to date on housing needs, housing and homelessness in our county, where you can share some of your experiences and perspectives on it in our community, where you can talk about ideas and solutions to improve housing stability and affordability and help shape some local priorities and future actions. These town hall meetings are occurring across the county of Lennox, Nannington, and Prince Edward County are all part of the same social services delivery agent. And please, if you have an interest in this and it concerns you, please get involved and come to that event. Thank you. Any other member statements? Move on, new business. None. Bylaws. Item 16.1, bylaw 1021/2026 relates to acquiring a property. I will not read it all. Can we have 3 readings? Councillor Yantch, seconded by Deputy Reeve Hook. Call the vote. Councillor Thompson.
Yes.
Deputy Reeve Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Levier. Councillor Yantch.
Yes.
And that motion's carried. Item 16.2, bylaw 1022/2026. Bylaw to deem part of a plan of subdivision 749, not to be a registered plan of subdivision. We have 3 readings. Councillor Thompson, seconded by Councillor Yantch. Call the vote. Councillor Thompson.
Yes.
Deputy Reeve Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Olivier.
Yes.
Councillor Yantch.
Yes.
And that motion is carried. We'll be going into closed meeting shortly. So pursuant to section 239(2) of the Municipal Act 2001 as amended, this part of the meeting will be closed to the public in order to adopt closed meeting minutes of March the 17th, to receive an update on an update regarding litigation or potential litigation affecting the municipality, and to receive an update regarding a township employee. Can we have a motion to go into closed? Moved by Councillor Yantch, seconded by Councillor Olivier. Call the vote. Councillor Thompson.
Yes.
Deputy Reeve Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Olivier. Councillor Yantch.
Yes.
And that motion is carried, and we will be going into closed. Just to note, if you're still the live streaming will be terminated right now, but we will put that back in place when we come back to the open meeting.